Hey everybody, so welcome to the era of DLC speculation for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We know the full base roster and basically everything that's going to be in the full base game at this point, but we still have 5 DLC characters that we're going to be getting down the line. Could take up to a year, Sakurai said, so we can speculate about those for a while, as they're still unknown to us. Technically there's 6 DLC characters, but the first one is known, and that character is Piranha Plant. And Piranha Plant is a free DLC character that you'll get if you buy Super Smash Bros. Ultimate before January 31st and register the game. Piranha Plant is a free DLC character. But those other 5, we don't know who they're going to be. They each come with a stage and some music tracks, so yeah, it's time to speculate about who we might be getting for those DLC characters. So recently, Sakurai tweeted some interesting stuff that can give us a little bit of a hint at what could be happening with these DLC characters. I'm just going to read what Sakurai tweeted. So Sakurai recently said, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's DLC lineup is now complete. This time the selection was made entirely by Nintendo. I decide if we can create a fighter based on their selection, then come up with the plan. Then Sakurai went on to say, it's great to dream about your favorite character joining the battle, and I appreciate your passion. But please try to stay on topic when replying to tweets and refrain from flooding us, and other users, with requests when we're not specifically asking for feedback. Thank you. Okay, so what can we learn from those tweets that Sakurai just made? Well, basically, Sakurai is saying that Nintendo chose the 5 DLC characters. So these aren't going to be Sakurai choices. These are going to be choices that Nintendo made. Now, this might be him saying that Nintendo made the choices as opposed to like a third-party company. So like if Nintendo went to, say, Square or Ubisoft or Microsoft or Namco or whoever, Nintendo's the one making the decision. Sakurai then says that Nintendo gives him the characters, and he makes the final decision on whether or not those characters are implementable in Smash or not. So Sakurai still has a say here, but it appears Nintendo is the one choosing the characters outright. So that second tweet appears to just be Sakurai telling everyone that they're not looking for suggestions for these DLC characters. These DLC characters have already been decided upon, and, flooding Sakurai with tweets about what character you want, or Nintendo with emails, isn't really going to make a difference. These characters are decided upon. He says something about specifically asking for requests right now, so, that may point to possibly a future Smash ballot again. Maybe if we get another fighter pass or something and even more DLC characters. It's possible, but I'm not going to be banking on that. I think Sakurai is really just telling people not to flood them with character choices because they're already decided upon. So now, knowing that Nintendo themselves are the ones picking these DLC characters, it doesn't bode particularly well for characters that were more Sakurai choice style characters. Specifically, Geno, unfortunately, as he's my most wanted character, was always more likely as a Sakurai choice. I always thought Geno was more likely as a base roster character, and then specifically I thought, one of the main reasons he has a good shot is because Sakurai has expressed in the past that he likes Geno and wants Geno in the game. But if Nintendo is choosing these characters, I don't know if that means that they'd pick Geno. Now, it's possible if the Mii costume sold really well, or if the Smash ballot, really showed Nintendo's Geno's popularity, that Nintendo may choose him based on that. Nintendo did do this tweet, it was quite a few months ago, I think it was before E3, where they mentioned Mario RPG, and it was something about like Team Geno versus Team Mallow or something like that. So it's possible Nintendo would still go to Square and try to get Geno. It could still be profitable to them to do that, but it does kind of hurt Geno's chances, I feel like, not having Sakurai be the one picking these DLC characters. For the DLC choices for Smash 4, I always felt Corrin was more of a pick from Nintendo. In fact, Sakurai even mentioned that he kind of thought they had enough Fire Emblem characters, but that the staff said that Corrin would work really well and they wanted to implement him. So, I feel like these Nintendo choice DLC characters may be characters like that. We might get somebody like a new Fire Emblem rep again if that game is something Nintendo wants to push. We may get, say, a new Pokemon rep for the next Pokemon game if Nintendo wants to push that. Or they may be characters that are sort of joint characters between Nintendo and another third-party company that maybe Nintendo wants to somehow make a deal with. So somebody like Rayman from Ubisoft seems pretty likely as far as Nintendo choice DLC characters go, as Nintendo and Ubisoft have been really close lately. So I feel Nintendo will probably pick characters like that, and not so much characters that are, we've heard Sakurai express interest in the past. It'll probably be characters from third-party companies that Nintendo feels like might either help push some sales for a game or push some bonds between Nintendo and that company, or it's going to be characters specifically for new games. Maybe we'll get a Metroid Prime 4 character, for instance. Maybe we'll get, again, a Pokemon or a Fire Emblem character, depending on what games are coming out and what Nintendo wants to push. That seems more likely with Nintendo holding the reins here for the DLC characters. Of course, we did still have the Smash ballot, so it's also entirely possible that Nintendo themselves are looking at that ballot and they're going to pick characters and see if Sakurai is okay with implementing them or not. And that could bode well for fans. The Smash ballot was something we could all vote on. It was something that I think a lot of the more popular Smash character choices among the Smash community, got a voice for finally. So it is possible Nintendo will look at that and see that the characters that ranked higher, will probably sell better. So, Nintendo's probably looking at this whole thing financially speaking, and so they'll probably want to implement characters people would want to download. So it is possible they will be going off the Smash ballot, and we may get some very good character choices here. So Virgibin said a bit more, and he was right throughout the whole base roster of Smash Ultimate, so it's really important we look at what he's saying. So I'm just going to read a newer post from him. So someone brought up Steve and Catalina and asked Virgibin to clarify on them. So Virgibin said this. He said, "Correct. People are misinterpreted me bringing them up and what they heard in a thread asking about what I know may be happening with the DLC. I brought up what Shinjo Gahara Hitagi has heard because I felt relevant to the conversation. I have talked to them before, but I explicitly said that I personally have not heard that Steve is certainly coming as DLC yet. I have only heard that there was Minecraft content of some kind. Shinjo Gahara Hitagi has heard and expressed that they heard that Steve is coming." So just to be clear here, Hitagi actually went back on that a little bit and said that it is just Minecraft content and that he is not 100% certain of Steve, though at first he did say Steve. Shinjo Gahara Hitagi has also heard about discussions between Cygames and Nintendo for a Grand Blue Fantasy character, naming Catalina as the one that was brought up. They later went on to say that discussions may have never got past being negotiations. So there you go. Virgibin is saying that although he trusts Hitagi, he said that in the past, Hitagi is the one saying that Steve's in, not Virgibin himself. And again, Hitagi actually went back on that and just kind of said, well, I know that Minecraft content's coming. I don't know for sure if it's Steve. And that their whole thing about getting a Grand Blue Fantasy character, specifically Catalina, and Cygames being involved in the DLC, may have not gotten past the negotiation point. So maybe Hitagi just heard about those negotiations, but doesn't know for sure if that ever led to an actual DLC character or not. So as far as what Virgibin's saying, before this he was saying a Square Enix character, but he hasn't given us an actual name yet. He's saying Minecraft content in some form, but not necessarily a playable character, though it could be. And he is saying that he believes Hitagi, but Hitagi is saying he's not even sure about the Cygames character, or Catalina, or if we're getting Grand Blue at all in Smash. So that's pretty much where we're at as far as credible leakers go for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC characters. Now, there are some rumors floating around that the Video Game Awards, as they happen a day before Smash comes out, may show us our first DLC character. Virgibin seems to think that the Square Enix character will be revealed first, and Leaky Pandy was saying that it would be a Dragon Quest character, or at least they were implying that. Virgibin kind of pointed that out to people, but then said that, it wasn't a leak from him. He was just pointing that out as he also had heard that Square Enix would be possibly a DLC character. This was before the whole base roster was known, and that the Video Game Awards might be where it's released. Spawnwave also said this. Someone asked him, Sora, who is supposed to be revealed at the Game Awards? And Spawnwave said, would people be excited for that? Now, I don't know if that's Spawnwave just kind of being sarcastic. I mean, it seems to be a sort of joking kind of sentence there. But it's also possible he has heard Sora. Now, Virgibin said he heard 7 different Square Enix characters, and there's this rumor that Square is just putting a ton of names out there. So it's really hard to go off of anybody specific that someone's heard, but it is very likely we'll hear about a Square Enix DLC character at the Video Game Awards. That does appear to be a rumor floating around right now. Now, the one character that I've personally heard a rumor for is Banjo-Kazooie. Specifically, I had a source come to me and say that they had a Microsoft source that heard Banjo-Kazooie. Their Microsoft source was believing the Grinch leak despite also being confused why Incineroar wasn't on it. I do trust my source. I do trust that they are a credible person. They have good credentials. They're someone I do not think is lying to me. However, I've never actually interacted with their Microsoft source, and if their Microsoft source was fooled by the Grinch leak, I have to say, until they get something correct, I really can't trust them too far. I have to just take it as as a rumor. So I just want to get that information out to you guys that I have heard Banjo-Kazooie, but it's from someone who has never really gotten anything right. Now, my source did go on board with me saying that, yes, spirits probably do act like stickers, and that was a leak that someone else brought to me. So yes, I have had people bring me actual credible leaks that turned out to be true, but this is not the same source, though this source did agree with that notion that spirits act like stickers. So who knows what's going on here, and I just want to get that information out there that Banjo is a possibility. With Virgin saying that Minecraft might just be Minecraft content in the game, it's very possible we get, say, a Minecraft stage and Banjo-Kazooie as a character. That's kind of my personal guess, but again, I want you guys to make your own conclusion, your own assessment on that. This is information coming from someone who was tricked by the Grinch leak, someone who, you know, has not gotten anything right yet, so take it as a rumor. Banjo-Kazooie is really more of a rumor than a leak because I can't really back up my source's source, despite me believing my source is not lying to me. Now, I do think Banjo-Kazooie has a good shot despite that. I think if an N64 Classic Edition comes out, it would make a lot of financial sense for Nintendo to go to Microsoft and get some rare games for that, as rare games were a big part of the N64. And it's really hard to make a good library of games for an N64 Classic Edition if you don't have, you know, some rare characters or rare games on there. It's also pretty likely because Nintendo has been working pretty closely with Microsoft lately. We had crossplay with Minecraft, and Minecraft even has a Banjo-Kazooie skin in it. So yeah, it does seem very plausible that even with Nintendo being in control of the DLC characters, that Banjo-Kazooie is still a pretty likely choice, financially speaking, if they want to push that N64 Classic, and they did get rare games from Microsoft for it. Does make sense. One interesting thing pointing towards Banjo-Kazooie is also they used this rhyme that sounds very much so like a Gruntilda rhyme, where they said, "Why close the door when we can add even more?" It really does sound like something Gruntilda would say, or something specifically just from Banjo-Kazooie. So yeah, that may be some sort of hint. I don't know, but I thought it was worth pointing out. So next, I just thought it would be fun to show you guys where I'm at thinking about these DLC characters. Now, keep in mind, if you looked at what I was guessing for the base roster of Smash Ultimate back when we only knew about Inkling, it's way off from what we got. So this is, you know, a very uneducated DLC guess. I think once we get one DLC character and we know whether or not, say, the stage and the music all goes with the same series as the character, or if it's coming from a third party or in-house Nintendo character, we'll have a better idea of what these DLC characters might be like. But for now, this is my initial guess at DLC characters. Okay, so obviously there are more than 5 characters on here, so yes, I have not completely nailed down 5 characters. But I'm just going to start in the top left. So obviously I'm going to keep holding out hope for Geno. He's my most wanted character, and while I'm really happy with the roster for Smash Ultimate, I still have Little Mac, who was one of my top 3 characters I always wanted back in the Brawl days. I'm still happy with the roster, but yeah, I'm still holding out hope for Geno. So Geno is my #1 choice for Square Rep. I do think it does still make sense. I think Nintendo could still go get Geno. I think with the Smash ballot showing Geno's popularity could still happen. So yeah, I have Geno as my #1 choice. As far as stages go, the Rainbow Road stage from the 3DS was cut, so I'm wondering if that could possibly be being worked on and be a Geno stage, or maybe it got cut in favor of replacing it with a Star Road stage, as they'd be pretty similar, once again working as Geno's stage. So that's my guess for the stage that would come with that character. Now, if we don't get Geno, and once again, I will admit that Nintendo choosing the characters rather than Sakurai outright picking them does hurt Geno's chances slightly. If it is Nintendo choosing the characters and they don't choose Geno, I actually think the next most likely is someone from Dragon Quest. Now, I showed Slime here. I mean, if Sakurai is making Piranha Plant work, it's very possible he goes with just the most iconic character from Dragon Quest, which is Slime. It's also possible that maybe people voted a lot for Goku and they want an Akira Toriyama designed protagonist character, so we get like Ederic or something. So I don't really know, but a Dragon Quest character I think is probably the most likely with Nintendo in the helm, even though I'm still rooting for Geno here. And then right next in line for that, yes, there are 3 pretty likely Square characters here, is Sora from Kingdom Hearts. I think the toughest thing with Sora is getting the negotiations with Disney, but we'll see. If Nintendo does want to go out of their way to do that, it is possible we get Sora. I do think that would push sales a bit for kind of rival companies, unless Kingdom Hearts 3 somehow makes its way onto the Switch, though I'm not really banking on that. So I feel like, again, Geno or Slime or just any Dragon Quest character is more likely than Sora, but it could happen. Sora would be pretty huge. Sora would get downloaded a lot. It's possible Square told Nintendo that's what they want, and Nintendo brought that to Sakurai, and Sakurai said, sure. You know, totally possible. with several people implying that the Square rep will be the first one revealed and possibly at the Video Game Awards. I do think we'll find this one out probably first. It is possible we'll get more than one Square rep, so I won't completely count out Geno or Sora or a Dragon Quest rep if we get one of these. It's possible more than one DLC character could be going to Square, but this is pretty much what I'm thinking here. So probably Dragon Quest the most likely, Geno the one I want the most, and then Sora as the lesser likely of these three, but still totally possible character here. So right below my Square rep choice is my Microsoft choice. I'm guessing it's going to be Banjo-Kazooie. I think that Nintendo has a lot to gain from adding Banjo. I think Microsoft can't really do much with the character and only has stuff to gain from selling it to Nintendo or selling at least the rights to use it in Smash. So Banjo-Kazooie, I think, is the most likely character choice. It is possible we get Steve, as Minecraft is really popular, but I think Minecraft works better as a stage. And now we don't know for sure if characters have to have stages and music and everything associated all with the same game. I feel like these packs may be, especially for third-party characters, like a whole company pack. So like you could get a character from one game, a stage from a different game, music from several different games from that company. So if Banjo-Kazooie is our character, I think it's still very possible we get Minecraft as the stage and represent both. Verge has been saying Minecraft content, not necessarily a character. So I think that's the way this might be happening. That's my guess. So in the middle here, I have my choice of a second Namco rep. Namco does help work on Smash, and I feel like they may have just held off a character slot for DLC as they didn't think it was priority to get their character in right away for the base roster, as they would be privy to knowing that DLC was coming anyway. They could have held it off. I think Heihachi from Tekken and Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia are the most likely. Both those characters got Mii costumes in Smash 4, and they just seem like pretty big series. The Tales of series is really big in Japan, and Tekken, of course, is a pretty big fighting game series overall. So as for a stage for either of these guys, it's possible the Pac Maze stage was held off for DLC in a similar way. I'm saying that Rainbow Road might have been held off if Geno is the character to be reworked as DLC. It's possible Pac Maze was held off to be reworked when we get a second Namco rep. We will have to wait and see if stages actually have to go with the character and music and everything all goes from one series, or if they're kind of just coming from one company or something like that. We'll have to wait and see if that's the case. So next up, I have Rayman. Rayman was a trophy in Smash 4, and I really thought that meant that next time he would be a playable character. I thought the Smash 4 DLC would possibly make him a playable character. It did not. I thought base roster for Smash Ultimate would possibly make him a character. It also did not, but I think he would make a lot of sense here as a DLC character. Nintendo and Ubisoft are really, really close. They made, that Mario game with the Rabbids and everything pretty recently. So, yeah, I think Rayman's a pretty likely choice for DLC. And I added an Assassin's Creed tower, like a Ubisoft tower, as the stage. Again, I don't know that for sure, but I think it would make a lot of sense if the stage and the character don't have to go together, especially if these are coming from third-party companies that might want to represent multiple things, when they get into Smash with DLC. So Rayman as the character with, say, an Assassin's Creed stage would make a lot of sense to me. We have also seen the Rabid Mario characters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, so once again Ubisoft is on board, but they don't have a playable character yet. So we haven't seen Rayman as like a spirit or anything, so hopefully this is where he is this time. He will be a playable character, as I think he's a pretty cool choice, and I would like to see him happen. So my fifth DLC spot is very up in the air. I do have Catalina from Grand Blue here, just in case that Cygame negotiations was fully worked out and we are getting Catalina. It could make sense. Nintendo does own some stock in Cygames, and they may be trying to push Grand Blue into the West, as it's very popular in Japan, but not particularly popular across seas. So it is possible, much the same way that Fire Emblem was introduced to the West through Smash, that they could be introducing Grand Blue to the West this way. And it would make financial sense for Nintendo to do that, and Nintendo, if Nintendo is picking the DLC characters themselves and not Sakurai, that's the sort of choice I could see them making. It's also possible this spot is used for just something in-house, like Bandana Waddle Dee, if he did in fact survive not being a spirit. If spirits, deconfirm characters or not, who knows, but if he did survive not being in the game in any other way, it's possible this is where we'll get him as a DLC character. It's also possible Nintendo might want to push some new game, so I just put a Pokeball here, but possibly a Gen 8 Pokemon, possibly a new Fire Emblem character, possibly something for like Metroid Prime 4 or something, who knows. And then as a stage, I put Yoshi's Crafted World, as they got rid of the Yoshi's Woolly World stage, and once again, if this is just used as a spot for Nintendo to put their own characters into the game, it's possible we'll get a Crafted World stage that replaces that Woolly World stage. That's where I'm at as far as DLC stuff goes. Yeah, it's kind of a jumbled mess right now, but until we get one of these packs shown where we get, a fighter, a stage, and some music, and I can see, are they going to go for third-party characters? Are they going to go for in-house Nintendo characters? Is the stage and the fighter and the music all going to be linked together? It's tough to say for sure, so that's just kind of my jumbled thoughts on the whole thing as of right now. So on a slightly more controversial note, Nintendo has issued a statement saying they're going to change one of the attacks for Mr. Game & Watch, an attack where he pulls out like a torch and he has a feather in his hair. It does appear to be kind of a Native American stereotype, and some people were complaining about that. Now, as someone who has Native American ancestry themselves, I don't really have a strong opinion either way, but Nintendo is going to be changing that, I'm assuming, in probably an early patch for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It is a older throwback to something from the Game & Watch series that was, 30, almost 40 years ago at this point. So, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty outdated thing. So if Nintendo wants to get rid of that to, not do anything controversial with Game & Watch, I really, again, don't have strong feelings either way, but that's what they say they're going to be doing. So that's pretty much everything of note that's happened in the world of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in the last week or so after this final Smash Direct, and it does look like, this era of DLC speculation will still have a lot to talk about. So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we'll get some more news very soon. So once again, thank you guys for all the subscribes, all the likes. It really helps out the channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so, or like the video, or leave a comment, whatever you want. Until next time, have a good one.